Howdy all, Wyrm here. The 12 of Eorzea are the continent's foremost faith. From one city-state to the next, you'll see peoples who worship many of these deities, and revere them as a whole. The 12 have been a core element of the game's storyline since its beginnings. No more is this prevalent than in the lore of the game itself, from creation myths to displays of their might. You regularly encounter those who worship the 12 as you journey the realm from one land to the next. However, the subject of who or what they are, and why they are the central faith of Eorzea, is a subject that many people would have their own answers to, or one that many choose to go on faith and not have a need to explore further. Given that the subject started to be explored more closely in Shadowbringers, and will soon play a key role in the stories of Endwalker, let's explore the origins and lore of the 12, the deities of Eorzea. As the story goes, as many texts on the subject will echo, the 12 took up residence in Eorzea long ago. Exactly how long is unknown, but it was at least before the wandering tribes of Hydaelyn lived there, long before the oldest civilizations known to exist in Eorzea. The 12 shaped the land and tamed the seas, creating a realm of supreme beauty. As time passed, these wandering tribes migrated to Eorzea and its island chains. As they shared this bountiful land with these tribes, the 12 quickly became impressed with these younger races, and admired their resourcefulness and resilience in the new land. This was so much so that the 12 ceded the lands of Eorzea to these tribe races, which comprise of the Elezen, Miqo'te, Lalafell, Rogadin, and Hir. This story is shared by most and is most of what we have to go on, but after this act, the 12 became the patron deities of these races. We can only speculate as to what the 12 actually were at this point, but so it was that this came to pass. Each pair of the 12 came to embody one of the 6 elements that make up the world, but along with that, each of these 6 pairs are tied to the constellations of Hydaelyn's night sky. Alongside the element they embody and the constellations, each of the 12 have their own unique symbol that reflects the traits of that deity. For example, Altic's symbol is an hourglass, Oshan's is a walking stave, and Haloni's symbol is 3 spears side by side. Many records of how the 12 were worshipped by the previous civilizations have long been lost to time. However, we do know that by the time of the Allagan Empire was on the rise, the faith of the 12 was already ingrained in society. Much like the religions of our own world, we mostly have written scripture and passed down stories to go on. As each empire and civilization rose and fell through Eorzea's history and the calamities, the faith of the 12 is one core aspect that we have in common with those ancient peoples. That about does it for the origins as passed down in writing and story. It's so much detailed in this in lore, however, and I highly encourage you to read it. These stories are the best evidence we have for their origins and existence. And I say this because whoever or whatever these deities of the 12 actually are, we have no documented appearances of them in Eorzea or lands beyond. However, we have seen powerful acts and happenings that have been linked to the 12 due to their magnitude. One of the best examples is back before the 7th Umbral era, shortly before the events of the Battle of Carteneau and the Primal Bahamut. Not long before these events, after Nael Dús Darnas's defeat and the beginnings of Dalamud's fall, 12 symbols appeared across Eorzea, carved into stone, and glowing with light and power, one that gave comfort and hope. As doom fell towards Eorzea, Louisoix Levieur encouraged the peoples of Eorzea that if they offered prayer and hope to these symbols, what would follow would be the power to save Eorzea, something he dubbed the Summoning of the 12. In actuality, these symbols were not created by the 12, but were carved by Louisoix himself, and created spiritual anchors to channel the spell, and would be something Eorzea had never seen the likes of before. As the Battle of Carteneau raged on, and Bahamut broke free of Dalamud, chaos erupted across the realm due to his power. It was at this exact point that Louisoix's plan to save Eorzea came into play. The combination of prayers from Eorzea's people, the scions at each symbol, and Louisoix using his staff, summoned the magic required to reseal Bahamut and save the realm. Columns of light erupted from each location a symbol was carved, and 12 spires that converged and pierced Bahamut, holding him in place while the spell constructed a new prison to seal him away. As the spell was finishing, the symbols of the 12 appeared around the seal and raised up in preparation. But as anybody who has watched the trailer from A Realm Reborn would know, the spell would end in failure. Bahamut overpowered the spell and broke free. Louisoix actually came very close to sealing Bahamut, and had he channeled the full power of this spell, he may have well succeeded. However, he didn't do this, as the channeled power of the 12 summoned deities at once would have likely sealed Bahamut and gravely wounded Hydaelyn in the process. The spell fails and a massive source of ether is left behind, which Bahamut starts to absorb and channel into a final attack. Using the abundant power around him, Louisoix channeled a spell with the power of Altic, and teleported the Warrior of Light and adventurers through time and space. We have not seen more acts such as this since then, but we have witnessed how the Faith of the 12 serves as the literal pillars of the religion of the Faith of Eorzea. You need look no further than one Eorzean city-state to the next, to see how profoundly each is shaped by their faith, both in the 12 and their patron deity within it. Whatever is in store for us in Eorzea during Endwalker will have a profound impact on how we view the deities known as the 12. And that's it regarding the origins we currently know about the 12. Thanks for watching everyone. Endwalker is upon us at last, and with it, tons of lore which I plan to make many more videos about and explore in detail. I also plan to recover this subject of the Fate of the 12 in a future video, with all that Endwalker has to teach us, plus much more. Thanks all, and now, as always, have a good one.